The Bill Belichick era is underway, and all you need to know, things got so bad that Kirk Herbstreit gave up calling the game and let his dog take over. Woof.
This is Kamori House, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Monday, September 1st, Labor Day, 2025, at least for the next, 11 minutes or so. Welcome into this Locked On Tar Heels postcast edition, the first one of the fall of 2025. Despite the circumstances, it's great to be back doing this together. Glad you're all here. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, and you're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for being with us on your first listen or watch after the game. We do this after every football game, after every men's basketball game, make plans all season long. Special shout out to all the everydayers here with us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and all the great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. I guess we should also say a special shout out to all the haters that are probably here, because I'm sure everyone's wanting to come dance on Bill Belichick's grave right now. And we'll talk about that. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, guys, it's in the books. Mercifully, it's over. Carolina loses to TCU 48-14, and they indeed did not suffer the same fate as they did when they played Dion in his first game at Colorado. So what we do on these live postcasts, we'll just do a lot of takeaways from the game, some big picture, some more granular, some player kind of stuff, all sorts of it. Obviously, we got to talk about the spectacle of it all. We got to talk about what went wrong. Is there suddenly a quarterback controversy after one game? Obviously, I say that not yet knowing Gio Lopez's health status, and there is all of that. Okay, let's dive right in. Bill Belichick's first career game as an NFL head coach for the Browns. Literally 34 years ago to the day. Holly Rowe, in fact, even talked about it on the broadcast. September 1st, 1991. In that game, Bill Belichick and the Browns were playing the Dallas Cowboys. They lost 14-26. How crazy that it was 34 years to the day. But my point in bringing that up is this, and I said this all in the lead up, and I still do truly believe this, even after the embarrassment that just happened at Kenan Stadium with everyone filing out. This game tonight, and yes, all the embarrassment of it, everything that happened, is literally just one football game. You learn from it. You figure out why things went as horribly awry as they did, and they did. And then you move on. And you burn the tape, never to be seen again. Tonight is just one game, and there is lots of football to be played both this year and beyond. That first year for Cleveland, I think Bill Belichick went 6-10, and it was a while before he got things really to where they needed to be. And like, again, I was saying this before this game even started, not that I wanted to throw this game away, although I do now. It's just to say that one game in, we don't know good or bad. Were Carolina to have been on the other side of 48-14, I would be saying the same thing. Don't get all high and mighty, because you could just as easily lose to Charlotte next week or whatever it is. So there it is. Even after this loss, I continue to say it's just one game. You learn from it, and then you keep on trucking. That said, number 2 point coming out of all this, it was a brutal first game. And like, you just have to take it. You got to take it on the chin. I already know, Kenton Gibbs, one of our Locked On Wolfpack hosts, is licking his Wolfpack chops for the ACC squad show that we will record on Tuesday evening. I know it. Alex Dono has already told me, our great host of Locked On ACC, that I've got to lead things off. So look, when you get embarrassed, you got to stand up and own it, and you keep going. Here's the truth of the matter. Things could not have gone more better. That's not even a right phrase. Things could not have gone better for Carolina in that first drive. I mean, they came out guns blazing. Caleb Hood, who started, by the way, over Davion Gauss. Interesting bullet coming off the bench. Hood's churning things up. Gio Lopez has a couple nice completions. In fact, 2 of the first 5 plays were brilliant. Hood waltzes in, and it's like, okay, Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels, you got something here. And then they're able to force a punt from TCU. But in the same breath that I say things could not have gone better for Carolina on the first drive, I don't know that there's anything else to say, because things could not have gone more poorly the rest of this Labor Day. It was a labor to watch this game. After that, Carolina had 3 straight 3-and-outs. They had the 83 yards on their first drive, getting that touchdown. The next 3 drives went -11, 0, and 1. And the drive right after that, even thanks to Caleb Kost's wonderful tip drill interception. What up, baseball skills? Shouts and hat tips to Kamari House for the pressure. After that was the pick 6. So after that opening drive was beautiful and brilliant. And oh, Carolina, wow. -11, 0, 1, pick 6. Oh boy, there's that. Fourth thing I want to talk about. Let's remember back. Let's go to basketball. It's Coach K's final regular season game in Cameron Indoor Stadium. There's all the media hoopla that's been created, all of this stuff, and all of the Duke alum are there. They're all wearing special shirts and jackets. They make a tunnel. There's the whole thing. And it was like a complete afterthought that the Tar Heels were even going to be in Cameron Indoor Stadium and were even going to play in the game, much less, holy cow, win it. Now, much different stakes and much more contemplation that TCU was the favorite because they were in this game. But it was very similar in terms of TCU being a complete afterthought. All along, I was like, TCU's got to feel completely disrespected, completely like redheaded stepchild. What's a stepchild with freckles, right? Like just completely overlooked, completely not thought about, despite the fact that they were the favorites in this game. Turns out that was completely correct. You think they wanted to prove something tonight, TCU? All you had to do was look at the fact that Josh Hoover, with a completely landslide blowout victory already in hand, is still in the game in the middle of the fourth quarter. Sonny Dykes to Holly Rowe after the game, he said, quote, "I think we all felt a little disrespected coming in. There was a lot of conversation and none of it was about us," end quote. And I was like, okay, Sonny Dykes is a little bit salty about how this went. And yes, they were happy to run up the score. And you know what? Kudos to you. You came out and you did the thing, right? And Carolina just had to sit there and take it because they certainly couldn't stop it and they weren't going to tackle anybody to do it. All right, let's talk about the environment a little bit. And then after that, we're going to have to take a break before we can dive into all the specifically bad things that were going on. Our guy, Josh Marlowe and Anthony Pagnotta of the Heel Tough blog, obviously long-time Carolina guys, all like have season ticket holders. They were there at the game. So I texted the two of them a little bit beforehand, probably the game kicked just after 8. I think it was probably about 7:30. I texted Marlowe to just say, like, what are the vibes? What is it like there in Keenan right now? And this was his quote back to me. "This place is a zoo, Shade. Never seen anything like it," end quote. And I tell you, the juxtaposition of those pregame scenes with all the pictures, all the video of people just filing out in droves. I mean, you guys, woof, that was embarrassing to watch happen. And the complete emptiness of Keenan in the fourth quarter. Good grief, y'all. But you know, earlier on Monday, Pete Thamel had announced that Michael Jordan was expected to be there along with Mia Hamm, LT, Julius Peppers, Eric Church, Chase Rice. He also mentioned Blake Snell, funny enough, in that tweet. And obviously there were tons of other people there. We saw Randy Moss, a lot of just Belichick people were there. And then you saw the trio sitting together, right? Michael Jordan, Roy Williams, LT. That is an insane trio sitting right there. I've got Pete. If you're late in coming, I've got Pete, Kurt Herbstreet's dog here helping me podcast this evening. And so that was absolutely crazy. I was also keeping a Jordan Hudson counter because I was very curious to see. And they showed her like right after that opening drive touchdown. And I don't know that we saw her again other than when they were re-showing Randy Moss, because it was her and Randy Moss right beside each other. So that was interesting. I expected to see a lot more Jordan Hudson in this game, but we just simply did not. So there you go. The vibes, the big picture of it. Now we got to get into all the bad. The turnovers, poor Marcus Allen getting picked on all night, the lines not being able to do anything. And that's what happens when you got a third string center. We're going to get to all of that and more. And look at the quarterback situation and what's going on there. All of that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about our good friends at the Game Cap. Check this thing. Man, it's hard for me to wear hats with my hair the way it is, but look, you just got to deal with it. Quick question for all you football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, obviously not tonight, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the Game. And these aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles that fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. That's my heyday. And guess what? They still, today, 2025, go for the same price that they did back then. When you use code Locked On, you will get your vintage hat for just $16.99. So head to thegamecaps.com. Again, that's thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design. Look at this one. There's a nice white one. Oh, man, it's got the NC logo on the back of it there. For those of you watching on YouTube, great stuff, man. Check any of those out. And again, use code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because legends wear the game. All right, guys, we trudge along. I'm going to bring up the box score as we keep talking in case you want to look at it. I don't know why you would, but it's there in case you want to. All right, just deal with that. Okay. All of this conversation about how important just the details of things would be, and we questioned it over and over and over again, right? Like 70 new players on this roster. How on earth do you think you're going to already be to the level of detail and precision necessary to succeed at a very high level? And it became clear and obvious and true that Carolina just wasn't. Literally 3 turnovers on this game. Carolina got an interception, a desperately needed interception. TCU was down close to the red zone again. Maybe they're already in the red zone. I can't even remember. And we get some pressure from Kamori House, really good pressure. The ball is tipped because they got to go high. And Caleb Koss tips it to himself, makes a really nice catch, really nice play. Literally like 3 plays later, a waltz-in pick six that Gio Lopez just got baited into throwing. I mean, if we're being honest, I probably could have jumped on that ball and took it in. After that, later on, there was the scoop and score, the play when Gio Lopez unfortunately got hurt. We'll talk about that later. Just trying to come around the end, and ball got poked out. And then later, once Max Johnson came in, there was the bad handoff exchange between him and Bullet Goss, and wasn't able to hold on to it. And TCU gets it and scores again. So 3 turnovers. TCU scores on all 3 of them. Boy, I wish I had TCU's defense in fantasy tonight, right? 2 of them were literally live ball touchdowns, right? And then the other one turned into an eventual touchdown. So turnovers got to be cleaned up, man. You just simply cannot have that sort of thing going on. Next thing, we've been worried about both lines, offense and defense. Felt like the linebackers would be strong, felt like the secondary would be in good shape. And man, it just, you hate it, but poor Marcus Allen just got picked on all night long. There was that, and there was that DPI. I think that was Carolina's first penalty of the game. There was a false start before that. So that was the second penalty of the game, was that DPI. And Des Howard said it at halftime. He's like, dude, that was a terrible call. They should have picked the laundry up. No, but it was like, almost like that just set him off. And then things just went bad the rest of the game. That first touchdown, man, he just got burnt. And TCU was unwilling to go at Thad Dixon on the other side. And when they finally did, was it right before halftime? And he had a nice poke away. And it was just like, they weren't going to throw it at Thad Dixon. They were just going to keep going at Marcus Allen, and poor guy. Like, so it's one of those things where you know that Bill Belichick's going to go to the drawing board and reevaluate everything, because this is a game, this is baby bathwater kind of game, right? Where like you start over and do everything you got to do and say, is this just a factor of we didn't have enough time to get enough guys because we were late to the game? Is this we didn't have our guys ready at the level we thought we needed to? Is this first game jitters? Is this the lights were too bright because of all the hoopla of it all and guys didn't perform? But also, are there guys that, we thought were going to do and just didn't? Can we help them, or is it too far gone? So I think they're going to have to take a look at Marcus Allen and see what they want to do there. I mean, pregame, they're talking about, hey, there's two guys on Carolina's roster that look to maybe get drafted this year. It's Thad Dixon and Marcus Allen. Well, rough night for that. Next, just talking all the things that were bad. I said it a second ago. We already were hesitant of Carolina's offensive line in particular, and the defensive line as well. Obviously, a big part of it, both of those lines are missing key pieces, and I mean key pieces. Christo Kelly, much to his credit, gave it a go at center for Carolina, but he was not able to go for very long, and you end up with a third-string center who's literally never played center before. And so you're just missing guys on both lines. They're getting pushed back into Gio Lopez on the offensive line. The defensive line can't stop the run. I mean, it's tough, you guys. It's very tough. Now, part of it, though, is that despite what the line is doing, when you're on defense, you got to be able to tackle. And, it's funny in an age where so many teams aren't tackling in fall camp and in other moments because they want to take care of things. Coach Belichick was like, no, we're tackling. Maybe should have done it more because things did not go well on that front on Monday evening. I will say that. Another thing is that first drive, there were some nice plays mixed in, a little bit of, not much in the passing game, but didn't really need to be, but two nice strikes from Gio Lopez. And then after that, the play calling from Freddie Kitchens got very, very conservative. And that was, you can put part of it on the players, but also you got to look and say, Coach Kitchens, man, just running. And I don't know if, maybe that was part of a game plan to cover up some weaknesses. Maybe they felt that the beat up offensive line couldn't protect long enough for Gio to get throws off. But I mean, good grief, that first drive, you had 6-7 linemen in, including the tight end. And so I don't know, but the conservative play calling, another big issue. As part of that, somewhat because of the play calling, Carolina could do nothing on third down. That first drive when they scored didn't need a third down, but in the first half, in totality, Carolina was 0 for 5 on first down, including the pick six. Started 0 for 1 on third down conversions in the set. Let's see what it finished at. I didn't go back. 1 for 10. Carolina finally got that one third down conversion. That was Max Johnson. I think it was the play when he got leveled. Buddy, way to stand in there. I mean, that's his first. Anyway, we'll get there in just a second. But 1 for 10 on third down conversions. That's not going to do it. That was around 5 minutes left in the third quarter, I believe it was. And then the other thing is just the passing game. We're talking offensive conservatism, but the passing game was doing nothing. I said it earlier. Gio Lopez had 2 completions in the first 5 plays from scrimmage, and then literally 0 completions the rest of the first half. I mean, nothing, literally nothing. Gio finishes the game 4 of 10, ended up having 2 more. And then Max Johnson was 9 of 11. We'll get to that in just a second. So there's all of that. And just trying to figure out like that I mean, there's always going to be first game stuff, but this was just overwhelmingly everything. Coach Belichick was giving us all the, coach speak after the game. We need to work on everything. It was very disappointing. Coaching fundamentals were not good. We're a better football team than we showed the night on and on, just all of that kind of stuff. And gosh, you guys, That is what it is. And so I said, you got to start taking a look at personnel. And part of that includes quarterback right out of the gate. It was just late last week that the coaching staff announced that Gio Lopez would be QB1. And now we got to take another look at that, both because of injury and because Max Johnson came in and did a good job. Albeit, was it against TCU still trying to play? They certainly were on offense, or had they let off the gas a little bit? I want to look and have that conversation coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about our good friends at Game Time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited to move past this one and get to next week in Charlotte. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, man, there truly is nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless lines, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. And that's why I use Game Time, the app that's given the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. No surprise fees, y'all. What you pay is what you get. So whether it's Charlotte coming up next week, Richmond, if you're taking a trip down to Orlando, maybe you want to go to Disney World and hit the UCF game, whatever it is, Clemson for that opening ACC game back at home here in about a month. That'd be great too. Do it. Check it out with Game Time. Pull it up. Couple taps. You can see amazing deals and find tickets. It's faster, it's cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. And I used Game Time for my family for some tickets this summer. And I tell you, the process was just as smooth as they tell you. Went off without a hitch. Had an absolutely wonderful experience. I will continue to use Game Time over and over and over. So why don't you do that too? Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, let's wrap the show talking quarterback. The coaching staff last week named Gio Lopez as QB1, and I think that's the right play. Given everything that they had seen and thought, by the way, forgive me, I've got to take a drink. I haven't taken a drink this whole show, and I'm parched. I'm parched, you guys. I need Pete the dog back with me here. Okay. They named Gio Lopez the quarterback, and from what they had seen and given, Max is still working his way back from injury and seems to be fully healthy, but still, right? There's all of that. Gio gives you the dual threat of all of that. But things didn't go well, right? Gio Lopez, and again, there's none of this happens in a vacuum, right? The offensive line. Let's just keep that in mind. But Gio, 4 of 10 passing, 69 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 78 QB rating. On the ground, 7 rushes for minus 10 yards. His longest rush was 3. And part of that, always remember in college, sack yardage counts against a quarterback's rushing total. So keep that in mind. And unfortunately, he gets injured. That fumble we talked about earlier. Goes back to after leaving the tent, hobbles right back to the locker room. Holly Rowe reported he was holding his lower right back and lower right hip and right hip. And, obviously they're not going to report on the injury, the team in that context, but Holly's doing her best. And she said one of the cameramen told her that once Gio kind of got up the tunnel and out of sight of everything, he just collapsed and was basically yelping and screaming in pain because something hurt so bad. What that is, I don't know, because, it wasn't an obvious injury on that play. Other than you could tell it looked painful for his lower body. But it wasn't like there was his leg dangling or something like that, which then transitions us into Max Johnson. And first off, just to go from where we were last year, and I've still got the stats pulled up if you're wanting to look at these quarterback stats, to go from what happened in this same game last year, and by same game, I mean first game of the season, with Max's gruesome, unfortunate injury, where he said his leg was basically felt like it was hanging. There was time, they reminded us of this on the broadcast tonight, but where it looked like he might lose his leg, have to have it amputated. That was a reality that was being considered, that Max Johnson might lose his leg. And Max goes through all of this hard work I mean, painful and excruciating, multiple days a week. His parents having to make sacrifices and adjustments. And the dude is a warrior and he's going after it. And I know he was not the sexy pick last year. It's like, why was he the guy? But he went out in camp and he had been an SEC starting quarterback, and there's something to it. There just is. And so let's set aside his performance and just say the fact that a year later, unfortunately, a similar scenario where the QB1 is hurt and he now is the one that has to come in. And the fact that he's able to, and, he takes that massive hit as he delivers a great ball right across the middle for a first down. And I mean, he did not have to wait long to one, as an athlete, you always wonder, like, how's this going to feel the first time I plant in game action, right? Like, obviously he's been doing it in practice, but how's it going to feel the first time I just get drilled by a blitzing linebacker, an end coming free, right? Like, whatever it is. And I mean, he just got plastered. And at some level, you hate that, but at some level, you're like, thank you. Now I can ball, right? Like, let's get that out of my mind. I'm good, and let's go. And Max comes in to replace the injured Gio Lopez, and you hate that. But look, Drew Bledsoe got hurt, and that's what made Tom Brady, right? Like, literally, that's Bill Belichick's story with the Patriots. And Max comes in and leads what I might remind you is a very poised, collected, 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive in which he goes 7 of 8 for 81 yards. I mean, just throwing good balls all over the field. Receivers making plays. After 2 drives, he was 9 of 10, finished the game 9 of 11. That last incompletion was they're basically, the game is done and over. They're not trying anymore. They run 2 vanilla run plays and then just say, hey, chuck it on 3rd down. Let's see what happens, right? So in totality, 9 of 11, 103 yards and a touchdown, 82 completion percentage, QB rating 190.5. It was up over 200 something when after that first drive. It was crazy. So there's a couple things at play here. With Max Johnson coming in, the game's already over, but on offense, TCU still had their quarterback in, and he's still playing hard. I didn't look at who TCU had in the game at that point, whether they were still playing hard defensively as well, or whether they had called off the dogs defensively. But one way or another, Max Johnson came in a year removed from that injury and had that performance against a Big 12 defense at some level. And that's not nothing. And so given the poise that Max showed, given, that he looks good, he had that rollout to the left, through like on the run completion, right? Like, he showed some of the things you wanted to see. Now, obviously we've not been at practice. We don't know why Gio was QB1 over him initially, but we're here and Gio is some level of hurt and Max has shown to be ready to go. And oh, by the way, how cool was it that the touchdown pass was to his brother, Jake, the tight end? I love that. But as a staff, I think you now have to go take a very long and hard look at this thing and say, if Gio's good, let's say Gio's good to go, and Max, we saw what he did. Do we still think that Gio is QB1? Or seeing what Max did, do we like that? And here's where I'm at on it. I don't care how many million to whatever it was that you paid Gio to come in. If you think that Max Johnson is the guy that's going to more capably help you win football games, that's the guy that you need under center, and you got to make the change. Now, maybe you still think that Gio's the guy. If so, great. Roll with it. But I just don't want, in the NIL era, I don't want money paid to be something that forces somebody's hand. And I don't think that's Bill Belichick, right? Like, that's not who he is. He wouldn't let that sway him. But if Max is the guy, do it. Pull the trigger. The problem is, you go to Charlotte this week, you got Richmond the week after. I guess you don't really learn a ton, although it is a good opportunity to really try stuff against not your team and not a Big 12 team. And so that's a win. So maybe there are some things you can learn about running the team, running a huddle, all of that stuff. And so maybe you give both Gio and Max time. And obviously, this is all assuming that Gio's able to go. We'll see. But I would suggest, after what I saw tonight, that you've got a quarterback battle. And we'll watch how that plays out over the next coming days and weeks. All right, guys, more to come on. We'll do a full Tuesday show that will be out as well. For those of you who are listening back to this, thank you for listening back later. So glad that you are with us. Good to be together. On Wednesday's show, we're going to have our next roster preview. That will be myself and Tyler Zeller's joining me to do our preview of Henry Vasar. Going to be a lot of fun for that. Coach Rob will be with me on Thursday. Friday, we'll get ready for the weekend and the game at Charlotte. So lots to come on a short week. Really, really good. I want to thank all of you so much. It is after midnight on the East Coast, and I want to thank you all for staying up and being with me after this game and after the embarrassment that happened. You guys, like, again, you take it on the chin, you're 0-1, and you say, all right, what's next? And we move forward. You guys, if you've not subscribed to the show on YouTube and audio, make sure you do that so you don't miss a second. If you've not joined the Discord, we'd love to have you in there so you don't miss a second on Discord. And man, that thing was going crazy tonight, as it always does. It was going crazy all day, honestly. We'd love to have you in there. If you want to go deeper with the show, Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program, that link is also in the show notes. You guys, even on a day like this, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We will talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.